Hello everyone, welcome to the series of lectures on the course Calculus and Numerical Methods. In this video, I'm going to talk about density of rational numbers and density of irrational numbers. Okay, so let's see what do I mean by density of rationals. If I give you any two real numbers a and b, okay, with a less than b, then between these two real numbers a and b, I can find a rational number r, which will be lying between a and b. All right, so if I put it on the number line, supposing I have my number line here, and this is a real number a which is less than this real number b, then this density of rationals, what I mean is, between any two real numbers I can always produce a rational number. In fact, there are infinitely many rationals between these two. All right, so that's what we are going to prove now. So we say that rationals are dense in R, that is a set of real numbers. Why is that? Because no matter where you keep your finger, supposing I keep my cursor here, okay, so around this point I can find infinitely many rationals. So no matter where you keep your finger on the real line, everywhere you will find rationals. Okay, so the real line is full of rationals as well as irrationals, and that's what we are going to prove now. Okay, so now we are given that A is strictly less than B, right? A is strictly less than B. So that's what our hypothesis is telling us. So let's start with the proof. Since A is strictly less than B, A is strictly less than B, therefore B minus A will be a positive number, right? So I can bring this A this side. So B minus A is going to be strictly positive number. So I have a positive real number with me, and we have seen one result which says, given a positive real number x, I can find a natural number such that 1 by n is less than that real number, right? One of the forms of the Archimedean property. So this b minus a is a positive real number, so corresponding to this minus b minus a, there exists a natural number n such that 1 upon n is strictly less than b minus a. So this is coming by Archimedean property. This is already done in the previous video lectures. If you have missed it, please go back and have a look at this property. Okay. So I have a natural number n such that 1 by n is strictly less than b minus a. So n is a natural number, so it's positive. So I can multiply n on both sides and the inequality will remain same. So this implies 1 is strictly less than n times b minus a. And if I open up this is nb minus na. So finally what I have is this nb minus na. This difference of these two numbers is strictly greater than 1. Okay, so nb minus na is strictly bigger than 1. So if I plot them on the number line, let's say I have my number line here. Okay, so na will be somewhere here and nb will be somewhere here, and the gap between them is more than 1 unit. Okay, it could be anything more than 1. So this is what I know from this part. All right, so now a is a real number that was given to me, and I've multiplied a natural number n to it. So finally I have a real number na with me, and by the last from the last lecture, given any real number x, I can find an integer m such that m is less than or equal to x and x is strictly less than m plus 1, right? So I can find such an integer m, and that m is nothing but the integral value of this real number na, right? So this I can find a number na here, that's the integral part, such that na is going to strictly lie between this integral part of na and integral part of na plus 1, right? So if I give this number notation k, okay, I'll give this a notation k, then this will be k plus 1. Okay, if I give the integral part of NA the k notation just for simplicity, then this is going to be k plus 1, and I can give some other notation, maybe m to this. I'll define this to be equal to m. Okay, and now this m which is actually here, okay, it cannot cross NB because the gap between NA and NB is already bigger than 1. This is strictly greater than 1, right? So this m, it has to be on the left of NB. It cannot be NB or it cannot cross NB. It has to be on the left of NB. So this is what I have. Okay, so I have defined k to be equal to integral part of NA. Okay, and m is nothing but k plus 1, that is nothing but integral part of NA plus 1. So this is my k and this is my m. Okay, now if you look at NA, before that, so the k that we have obtained here, okay, the k that we have obtained here, that is less than or equal to NA, and NA is strictly less than k plus 1. This is that integer k that I was talking about from the last video, the greatest integer function. Okay, so k is less than or equal to NA. This is what I have. So now what I have is k is less than or equal to NA, right? And NA is strictly less than k plus 1, and k plus 1 is nothing but m, correct? K plus 1 is nothing but m. So I can write here this is strictly less than k plus 1, that is from here, and k plus 1 is nothing but equal to m. Okay, so this is equal to m. So finally what I end up with is this number NA, which you can see here, is strictly less than the integer n. Okay, so I will take a note of this separately. So note that NA is strictly less than m. Okay, so I'll give this some number, let's say Roman number 1. Okay, now what I want to do is, see, finally what I want to prove, there is a rational number R between A and B. If you see the hypothesis of the uh, statement, okay, I want to find a rational R between A and B. Okay, so what I will be doing is, we will show that NA is strictly less than M and M is strictly less than NB, and then I multiply by 1 by N throughout, and I'll have A strictly less than M by N, and that is strictly less than B. And this will be a required rational number m by n, which is strictly lying between A and B. So this is the idea of the proof. Okay, so one part, if you see, is already done. We have proved it. So second part, we have to show that m is strictly less than nb. Okay, so now our claim is m is strictly less than nb. We will go by contradiction. Suppose this is not true. Okay, that means its negation will be true. That is, m is bigger than or equal to nb. So let, if possible, we will go by contradiction. Let, if possible, m is bigger than or equal to nb. So I'm assuming the negation of this statement, right? So m is bigger than or equal to nb. Now if I look at, I have to get a contradiction now. So if I consider the number 1, I can write 1 as k plus 1 minus k, because I'm adding and subtracting k. So this is same as 1 because k will cancel off and I'll be having 1. So this k and 1, I'll club them together and I have this. Now if you look at k plus 1, k plus 1 I have here. Okay, before k plus 1, not here, by assumption, yeah, by assumption, we've assumed that m is bigger than or equal to nb. and this m we have defined it to be equal to k plus 1 here. Okay, right down there. That means from here I can rewrite this as k plus 1 is bigger than or k plus 1 is bigger than or equal to nb, right? Because k plus 1 is nothing but m. And if I look at k, if I go back, k is strictly less than, no, k is less than or equal to na from here. Okay, so I'll do that in my rough work here. So this is one thing that I have. Second thing is k is less than or equal to na. So if I multiply both the sides by -1, minus k would be bigger than or equal to minus na. The inequality will be reversed because I'm multiplying by -1. So finally, k plus 1 is bigger than or equal to nb, and minus k is bigger than or equal to minus n. Okay, so I will put that estimate here. From here, the first quantity k plus 1 is bigger than or equal to nb, and the second quantity minus k is bigger than or equal to minus n. Okay, and this is nothing but nb minus na. So finally what we have obtained is nb minus na is less than or equal to 1. nb minus na is less than or equal to 1. But if I go back and if I see this, we already have nb minus na must be strictly positive. I'll name it star. Okay, and we are getting its opposite now. So that's a contradiction. So this is a contradiction to star. Why we are getting this contradiction? Because we assumed that m is bigger than or equal to nb. So our assumption is false, and hence m must be strictly less than nb. So m is strictly less than nb, and I'll name this as 2. So combining 1 and 2, what we have is by 1 and 2, na is strictly less than m and m is less than nb. So I multiply throughout by 1 by n. That will give me a less than m by n and less than b. Okay, so now if I choose my r to be equal to m by n, and that's a rational number. So we have found a rational number r between a and b. Okay, so if you take any two real numbers a and b which are not equal, of course, which are not equal, then I can find a rational number between a and b. Okay, so this is called density of rational numbers. All right. Next, we have a corollary to the previous result. Okay, so we are going to use the previous result that we did to prove this, and this is called density of irrationals. So for any two real numbers a and b with a less than b, I can always find an irrational number t. T does not belong to rational and t is a real number. Okay, so I can always find an irrational t such that t lies between a and b. So this is called density of irrationals. So let's prove this. I'll be making use of the previous result. Okay, so a and b are two real numbers which are given to me. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll consider the real numbers, consider the numbers a minus root 2 and b minus root 2. Okay, both these are real numbers. Consider the real numbers. Now we are given that a is strictly less than b. So if I subtract root 2 from both sides, what I have is a minus root 2 is strictly less than b minus root 2. Okay, now this is a real number and this is also a real number. So I have one real number is less than the other real number. And if I go back to the previous result, it says between any two real numbers a and b, I can find a rational r. So similarly, by density of rationals between these two real numbers also I can find a rational r. So therefore by density of rationals, there exists a rational number r such that a minus root 2 is strictly less than r is strictly less than b minus root 2. Okay, so this is what I have. Now to this inequality I'll add root 2 throughout. Okay, so that will give me a is strictly less than r plus root 2 and that is strictly less than b. Okay, so we have found one number now between a and b. R is rational and we know that root 2 is irrational. Okay, so their sum would be irrational. That is what we have to show now. So now we have to show that this number r plus root 2 which I have is irrational. Once I do this, I'm done. Okay, so I'll give this some name. Let's say S. I'll define this to be S. Okay, so we have to show that it is an irrational number. Again, we will go by contradiction. We will assume that, suppose, let if possible, suppose S, which we have defined it to be r plus root 2, is a rational number. Okay, if it's a rational number, we should be able to write it as quotient of two integers m and n. Okay, where the denominator n is not equal to 0. Now this S is a rational, that's what we are assuming, and r plus 2 is also a rational, that's what our assumption is. And from my previous data, we already know that r is a rational number. Okay, so S is rational now. That means I can rewrite this as S minus R is equal to root 2. Now S is a rational. Okay, S and R are both rationals. That means their difference is also a rational number. So S minus R is also a rational number, is a rational, right? But S minus R is equal to root 2. This implies root 2 is a rational number. That's a contradiction because root 2 is irrational. You will have already done this in your lower classes. Okay, and again we are going to prove it in the next class that root 2 is irrational. Okay, so that's a contradiction. Why we are getting the contradiction? Because we assume that S is rational. That means this number which I found here, r plus root 2, that is an irrational number. Okay, so therefore the number S, which I have defined to be r plus root 2, is irrational. Okay, so now if I call this number as t, I'm using t because I had used it in the statement. I have found one number, irrational number between a and b. Okay, so therefore there exists an irrational number t such that t lies strictly between a and b. So given any two real numbers a and b, I can find an irrational which is lying between a and b. Okay, in fact we can find infinitely many rationals and irrationals between two numbers a and b. Okay, so this was the density of rationals and the irrationals, and these are my references. Thank you.